These videos are intended to help you with applying for forgiveness of your PPP loan. Although we think that you will find these videos useful, and we have done our best to include accurate, up-to-date information, these videos are not a substitute for reviewing the SBA's PPP requirements and consulting with your accountant, attorney, or other trusted professional. In addition, these videos cannot cover every possible scenario. You are responsible for understanding the program and how it applies to your PPP loan. In this video, we will explain what the covered period is and how it will help you with future questions on the forgiveness application, along with calculating your business's cash compensation. What is a covered period? Per SBA guidelines, the covered period begins on the date the loan was originally disbursed. It ends on the date selected by the borrower, that is at least 8 weeks following the date of the loan disbursement and not more than 24 weeks after the date of loan disbursement. What does it mean? Simply put, the covered period is an 8 up to 24-week period that begins from the funding date of your PPP loan. For example, borrower's loan funding date was Saturday, April 25th, 2020. The first day of the covered period is Saturday, April 25th, 2020. The final day of the covered period is any date selected by the borrower between Friday, June 19th, 2020 and Friday, October 9th, 2020. Why is it important? The covered period is the time frame when costs must be paid or incurred to be eligible for forgiveness. Costs paid or incurred outside the covered period are generally not eligible for forgiveness. The SBA minimum covered period is 8 weeks, but you can extend up to 24 weeks to maximize your eligible costs over a longer covered period. For example, in those first 8 weeks of your covered period, government mandates didn't allow you to fully open and you could not spend all your funds. Don't worry, the SBA allows you to extend your cover period up to 24 weeks. That's great. You were able to spend all of your funds by week 16. This means your cover period is 16 weeks long. Now that you understand how borrowers elect their cover period, let's discuss payroll compensation, the primary component of your forgiveness eligibility, or more specifically, cash compensation. What is cash compensation? The SBA defines cash compensation as the sum of gross salary, gross wages, gross tips, gross commissions, paid leave such as vacation, family, medical, or sick leave, not including leave covered by the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, and the allowances for dismissal or separation paid or incurred during the cover period. What does it mean? Simply put, cash compensation is all forms of cash paid to employees and/or owners during your covered period that is related to their employment. Why is it important? When a borrower applied for their PPP loan, calculations for the loan amount were based on the borrower's payroll costs. At the time of applying for forgiveness, a borrower needs to demonstrate they used a minimum of 60% of their loan funds on eligible payroll costs to be eligible for full forgiveness. Cash compensation is important because for many borrowers, it is going to be the biggest part of their payroll costs. A borrower has the potential of applying for full forgiveness based on cash compensation alone. When borrowers calculate their employee cash compensation, they need to make certain to account for caps. Employee cash compensation, wages, tips, commission, is capped at $100,000 annualized per employee as prorated for the cover period. Let's discuss how to calculate employee compensation caps. For each individual employee, there is a maximum amount of cash compensation eligible for forgiveness. This is the employee cash compensation cap. For example, during an 8-week cover period, the borrower paid employee A a total of $20,000. When determining employee A's cash compensation, the borrower would cap employee A's gross wages at $15,385, which is the SBA's cap amount for an 8-week cover period. The SBA determines this maximum amount of $15,385 with the following equation: $100,000 divided by 52 weeks in a year, then multiplied by 8, or the number of weeks in the cover period. A borrower should apply this equation to calculate employee cash compensation caps based on the length of their chosen cover period. Here are some frequently asked questions about employee cash compensation caps. Do caps apply to all payroll costs? No, caps only apply to cash compensation amounts. Do caps apply at the company level? No, cash compensation caps apply at the individual employee level and should not be applied toward the total company's amount. Are employee caps always at $15,385? No, employee cap amounts will depend on the length of the borrower's cover period. Are there owner compensation caps? Yes, there are caps on the amount of loan forgiveness for compensation paid to owner employees and self-employed individuals. This is the owner cash compensation cap. Per the SBA, these are the owner cash compensation caps. For an 8-week cover period, $15,385. For a 9-week cover period, $17,308. For a 10-week cover period, $19,231. For all other cover period lengths, 11 to 24 weeks, $20,833. We did want to note that the SBA does allow the inclusion of other costs along with cash compensation in forgiveness requests. These costs include non-cash compensation for such things as employer health insurance contributions, retirement plan contributions, employer state and local tax assessed on employee compensation, as well as non-payroll costs such as business mortgage interest payments, business rent or lease payments, business utility payments, covered operation expenditures, covered property damage costs, covered supplier costs, and covered worker protection expenditures. As we will not be covering these types of costs in our videos, please be sure to visit our website for resources that can provide additional details. For more information and the most recent updates on the forgiveness process, please visit the FHB.com PPP loan forgiveness website. There you will find other helpful resources, readiness guides, quick start guides, FAQs, and more. Mahalo!